Okay, let's see how this is. Looks like the drop frames went away. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hi, Connie. How you doing? Got a bunch of drop frames right at the beginning there. It's weird. Yeah, stabilized now. Okay. Need to do cast the labs. I'm good. I'm good. Dogs are a little bit restless this morning, so I don't know how this is going to go today. But we'll see. Dota, good morning. Hope you're well. Okay. Should connect there. Good morning, Thorolf. Good afternoon. How are you doing? Connected to YouTube chat. Yes. Cool. Hope everyone is okay today. I tried to get started for 7 AM and it just doesn't work out that way when the dogs decide that they wanna bark and they need to go sniff. Right before I start, so working from home, nice. That's my danger. Work from home for me is my code is not doing as good as me though. Oh dear. Oh well. Some days that's the way it is. Yesterday I decided to start the stream because I was tinkering with Blazor. And in the end I was like, I'm done with Blazor. I am not messing around with this right now. I think it's the tooling that I was using more than Blazor itself. It's just having to understand what mode you're in or what tooling you're using, etc. So I ended up backtracking and because I was trying to build something for my game library, which I don't want to make a primary part of the stream at this point. But I figured I'd stream it because I was sat here doing it. And yeah, did not want to play. I spent way too long trying to figure out how the button works. I'm guessing no Blazor for the viewer project. Maybe. Blazor's an option for this, but Mud Blazor is something I would avoid. This is about the learning though, right? My point was I was trying to build something quickly, that would allow me to. So I have an application that is set to be IP limited, so the URL means nothing. But I've got to bring it down. So basically, this is my games library. So I collect video games, and this application is a Blazor app from a couple of years ago now. And I've made many efforts on stream and off stream to build a replacement for this. Thinking about what I want to do, like barcode scanning, etc., which I do have barcode readers, because I mean, Deflux is pretty much the loudest of the supporters that I've heard. But yeah, so, overall, this works, but I wanted to replace it, right? So I decided to tinker with this yesterday, and it didn't go well. So overall, it's not terrible, but it was just irritating me. So MudBlazor was the library I looked at, and MudBlazor doesn't have very good support for .NET 8, it looks like, yet. So a bit slowly. They released a version on Saturday, and I used Sunday. So the documentation is lacking in what you need. So yeah, I mean, as a UI option, Blazor is definitely an option here. We might want to keep it to a very simple UI framework though, having touched MudBlazor, unless someone has experience with it. Because I'm okay with learning, but that wasn't learning, that was just struggling, which I feel is not necessarily productive for people to watch or the stream. So struggling, I think that's my main content. No, building a really good looking game is your content. I really like the style and the way that game's coming along. You're that is impressive. I'm blown away at just how that took shape so quickly, and now it looks, I mean, obviously you're working on mechanics and stuff, but it's still impressive. Oh, yeah. Okay. So, what are we doing today? So, on the viewer project. So this is the Drink Water project. Last time we got some horrendously, not necessarily horrendous, I suppose. We got some concepts of the user logging in, right? So we got a token back. So things we could do today is put a UI on this, but we don't actually currently validate anything else. So until we know that works, I don't think the UI is the first piece we have to work on. I think it is a piece. So I'm not trying to bait with the stream title. However, I think we do need to figure out one thing first. So right now, when we log in, we just go to the login service, validate the password against the hash that we have, and create a login session, right? So now with that login session, we need to make sure that the authentication is valid, right? So I think what we need to start with is an endpoint for how to term this. So we have this water, drink water. So as a participant, I should be able to log into the application. We'll leave that in progress, but as a participant, I want to be able to log my consumption, right? So that is, I should be able to log that I've consumed 15 ounces, right? Hey, Tick, how you doing? Good day. Oh, go internet. Not good. Especially when you are reliant upon the internet for everything you do. So I use Verizon Fios, and I have gigabit. So it's about 850 down, 900 up, or something like that. I actually end up getting. But it's in 5+ years of having it, there's been 2 outages. So when they put the prices up a little bit every year, I'm like, nah, I'm not chasing it. It's worth the money. I'm paying for it. Here's Virgin Media Gigabit. It's fast. It goes down every other day. Yeah, keeping up to date with that infrastructure is. Britain has never been very good at that part. So, what I'd like to do is figure out, can we inject kind of a user identity in here? Like, I know that we're hacking this together, but if at least we consider the concept of an identity, we can move forward with the identity. And when we replace out the behavior later on, we then have all the right pieces, right? Ironically, BT fiber. Ouch. So let's have a look. Let's do a bit of research. So if we can get this working quickly, which I don't think should take very long, because this sort of stuff is normally cookie cutter for the most part, then then maybe we can plug in another solution later on without actually changing very much. Implement. Add default identity. I don't want to store it like that. I want to map it to entity framework. Because ultimately what we need to be able to do is say, okay, let's do consumption. Post. Right. So this is going to be what I want to be able to do is say public class parameters. Public. Do we need a date time here? I don't think so. Public. I don't think we need to put this in float, right? I don't think you're going to say I consume 32.4 ounces. At least working on my home computer is nice. Reduces compile time from 4 to 8 minutes to 30 seconds. Did you work on your personal computer? Ooh. So one thing that when I was younger, I would install work stuff, right? And I'd do work stuff on my personal computer because it was quicker and easier, right? Because my personal hardware was always better. And then as I got older and I started looking more at contracts and stuff, I was like, yeah, no, that's not happening anymore. Because if you blend the two in any way, shape, or form, your company owns it. So I'm not, with the way my contracts have been. Right, so I'm not risking my company having access. Like, imagine that if I did work on the Agile project management tool, and my company was like, "Oh, you did that on with work equipment." Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I never use personal equipment for work apart from my own company, which I have control over. Right. Yeah, it's a scary path just because of the way things are with companies. But yeah. So, I mean, this doesn't have to be right. It's not going to hurt to make it an int, right? Fluid ounces consumed, right? So what I'm looking to do here, and the reason I'm stubbing this out is because it just it helps me think about what I'm actually trying to aim for. Override. I didn't consider that. I forget if that is even in my contract, but I was more concerned for other reasons. Yeah, but always verify what your contract says, because if you blend work and personal, and they figure out you've done something in your spare time, because it's on your personal computer, it doesn't make a difference. They could own what you do. Because technically anything I work on during my work hours is owned by the company. Yeah. So what I want to do here is say, right, but if you're working on work stuff, they can't, yeah. It's more the trickiness, so I separate fully. I get that there's some well, if you want to try arguing with if you're working for a $1 billion company, right? No, we're not using this yet, are we? Right? Yeah. So, whatever service we inject here, right, should do service dot log consumption, right? And this should be new consumption. Thank you for all the help, Copilot, but I'm really trying to think at the same time. I don't want to necessarily do this. User ID equals user.identity.name or whatever, right? I'm in the public sector, so I think I'm safe. IT doesn't let us use our own stuff because of security concerns. Probably a good thing. Yeah, it's but it's more in a general lesson, right? Always pay attention to your contract and generally don't mix work and personal stuff. It's just I know it's not always easy, and in your case, right, you're trying to save a lot of time, and no one's really going to pay attention to that, I would imagine. But yeah. I've had a company come after me for other things. I mean, I offered a job to an employee, but it was on them to leave. But the company tried to pursue all legal avenues. So if the company wants to be malicious, the company will be malicious, and public sector, I don't know, you know. Yeah, it's more the other way around, right? The security concerns of the work stuff being so insecure that your machine's at risk. So anyway, it's always worth checking for anybody actually watching as well that does that sort of stuff. You should always make sure that you are covered. And yeah, so the goal here is I don't want to obviously pass the user ID in. I want to know that the user is accepted, right? So this by default, by the way, this is now authenticated. So fast endpoints is authenticated by default. I hope you read the contract in the new place. Is the new place public sector as well, or is it private sector? I really hope you read that one. So the goal would be we post to API/consumption, right? API login, API registration. Yeah. So, so this is the goal, right? So this is what we want to do. Yeah. And it's a startup if memory serves as well, so definitely be careful about preparation. There's only so much help you want to be. So what I'm looking to do is some form of, let's have a look, infrastructure. Right. Let's have a look. I need some form of identity, right? So how am I going to do this? And yes, I know this is like a lot of work to do this when we could just implement this correctly, but I want to do this so we can discuss what correctly is down the line. Paid lunch is an optional thing even in, wow. I kind of look at Europe as one better place for everything overall. In terms of protected worker rights and stuff like that. So what I want to do is, I kind of want to say builder services add authentication. And configure By the way, someone had an idea what I should do. Have to interview a person that wrote his complete CV with an AI that even reads really bad. I'm already so much biased. So, assuming you can't accuse them of using an AI, I would probably find the most technical thing they say they can do and question them on it thoroughly. If you're not allowed to reject them or accuse them of using AI, yeah, I'd, well, it might be because they have to interview them in some way, shape, or form. If they've been passed forward to do the interview, then you're not allowed to make that accusation. So, yeah. So I would find the most technical things they say can do and dig. And basically show them up as being unable to do or discuss things. I mean, it might be a case of they just don't know how to represent themselves, right? So they use the AI because they thought that it might do a better job of describing them. But if you dig on one of those highly technical pieces, then they answer back and they can actually talk about it, then you know that it's just they didn't know how to sell themselves in the first place. There was a resume from someone in Satolis's stream the other day, and it was okay, but it just didn't target any specifics, right? So people don't always know how to chase that. Why did you use AI for that? Well, that's the sort of thing. If you feel that they actually are good, first sentence is I have a diploma. His second sentence is he gets too much praise for his work at this point. I already didn't like him anymore. Well, so you are told to make sure that achievements are yours. So you're not meant to write in resumes these days, apparently, that we did this and we did that. You may say, I did this and I achieved this and I achieved great sales figures in the first quarter, etc. You're meant to kind of upsell yourself above the team. I always put team stuff in there because it's what I'm passionate about. I don't care about working on my own necessarily. I can do. I don't like it. I prefer to be able to talk about this stuff, right? Yeah, I'm the same. I prefer the we, but apparently you're not meant to write it that way. You're meant to kind of target. So these days with, attention spans what they are, my old, my old experience goes out the window. I don't need my old experience at this point, right? I can literally drop all education and stuff off my, not that there was much anyway, but I can drop it all off my resume. It doesn't really count for anything right now. And just use one page of relevant experience to the job I'm going for. So what they recommend is, whereas you used to do a cover letter to tell them why you wanted that job and then give you your resume, you now create a resume per job. I do a relatively even split team and myself. A lot of companies like teamwork, but able to do solo player if needed. Like a lot of companies aren't looking for teamwork. That's the biggest problem. They think they want a team, but what they really need is a bunch of people who can do the job. And if they work as a team, bonus. I consistently received outstanding performance reviews. What should I do with this one? I can ask my mother. She'll say that I'm awesome the whole day. Consistently received outstanding performance reviews. I want to target that. I mean, I've had someone in an interview tell me they wanted my job. Unsurprisingly, I didn't hire them. They weren't interested in the development job that was there. They were interested in the management role. So what did that path look like? And yeah, which would have had to come through me. So, yeah, it gets tricky now because of what you can and cannot ask in an interview, and I would imagine it's just as restrictive in Europe as it is in the US. Like you're not allowed to ask for personal stuff. You're not allowed to say what you do in your spare time. All those things are off limits now. I'm trying to think how I would dig further, and I consistently received outstanding performance reviews. I mean, I could say, can you tell me about a job you did that particularly got noticed for the outstanding performance, right? And if you're consistently getting outstanding performance reviews, what's your reason for leaving? I think that's still allowed to be asked, right? So that's always a good one to see, because what is your reason for leaving? People can't hide bitterness. So if they feel that they're not being paid what they were worth for all those outstanding performance reviews, then it'll show. If they feel that, if it's because of something they're doing, they're more likely to explain it anyway. So. I'm a couple of different CV editions. I love the idea of showing up for a junior position and saying, I see myself taking your job. It's the word you see yourself in. Yeah, it's pretty much that. I read a developer survey that basically said 85% of devs do at least 1 hour development on their own, which made me realize that 15% of the loudest, most annoying group. This is per week. I realized that. In the UK, you can ask why a person felt they wanted to leave, but it is a very fine line, because if you ask why they left, it should get contentious because they might have been fired. I don't know, it's weird. Yeah, there is some boundaries there. I know that. I talked to a few people who looked at me strange for doing dev work on weekends. Yes, there was a lot of people. So I think I definitely have talked about this before. The two different types of developer, right? There's the developers who are passionate about what they do. Those are generally you guys, right? You're watching streams about development and listening to me waffle on about development, right? So, and then there's people who just do it for a job. There's nothing necessarily wrong with the people who do it for a job. It doesn't mean they're any less competent. It just means they're not as engaged with what they're doing. So stuff that is really about refinement and stuff, they're not going to be engaged in those conversations. But, I mean, he put his hobbies into it, but all of them is consuming TV shows, coffee, and books. Right, so you've got someone who isn't really interested in doing the thing. Yeah. That's not going to be the easiest of interviews, that's for certain. But I would just dig on the technical abilities and reject them on, inability to actually. I would bet they can't. Yeah, I really noticed this in uni. Like having someone go through 5 years of school with zero programming outside school work is almost impressive. Yeah, again, I think it's you have a difference in. I consider this a craft that I want to refine. Right, I do genuinely. It might sound pretentious. It might sound self-important, but I really do feel that this is something that we can, if we do it well and we keep improving it and refining it, it just becomes easier for everyone to do it. But that's why I said, like, I was in Apex's stream the other day and I said something and Kanye was like, what? Because I said, I don't believe in software architects, right? And my job is software architect, right? That's what I do. But I feel that realistically, the team is meant to be producing the software, not an individual person dictating how it should do, because every time that happens, people kind of bend the rules and work around the edges, and you end up with software that doesn't quite look as it should. So I think the team should be engaged, but those people that treat software development as a job are your biggest enemy because they don't care, right? They just want to come in, do the job they want to do, and get paid for and go home. And then they want to sit and watch reality TV or, do whatever else they do, right? So there are some people that don't get that level of connection that comes with it. But it doesn't mean you are any less passionate about what you do. It just means you just don't live and breathe it. So you can have good people who treat it as a job, right? Nobody's hiring anyone based on why they left the company. No. You're often leaving for one of only very few reasons, right? But they come out on the other side with all they need to get a job. Yeah. Well, they come out with an education. Doesn't mean they need it's what's necessary for the job, right? I'm sure you're finding that now. It's not all what you learn in school. I find there are a lot of new devs crying about not getting hired, but rely on their degree is 100% of why they should be hired. Like I had demonstrable applications I should show to my first hiring manager and get the position the same day at the age of 16. Yeah, your passion and drive is far more important than a degree. But you're coming from a different place. I agree with you, Tick Tick, but then I'm from the same place you are, right? Almost literally, in geographically as well as career-wise. What is the code editor you use? Hi, Bush. The code editor is JetBrains Rider. Well, I took a CS degree, which was mostly math, but programming is very little math, even in my very, very math. Yeah, it's what scared me at first about programming, and then I realized you don't have to be a math expert to be a developer. If I was going into accountancy and stuff, I might need a bit more math, but yeah. So the way that recruiters see the resume, I've heard this from a few places as well, is basically your degree is useless 4 years after. So when you take a degree in computer science, right, 4 years after that ends, that degree means nothing. It's as far as your ability to do software. No worries, Connie. So some people will look out for the degree still, right? But oftentimes, and this is even true, I've heard this is true of Microsoft as well. Microsoft doesn't really care, and Google doesn't as well, about a degree if you've got relevant business experience. That being said, to get into those companies, I think we were talking about this. The dreaded. Where was I? Was it here yesterday? Yeah, it was. It was here yesterday, right? I'm forgetting the days. What's it called? The leak code tests and stuff, right? That was yesterday. Wow. Sorry, a lot of stuff has gone on since then. But yeah, leak code stuff, right? So to get into those, you have to do silly little games, and that's not development. So 2.5 years experience in job, full stack dev is the best part. Yeah. But again, I think it's why this should become an apprenticeship, right? I really feel that software development should, in general, turn to an apprenticeship. So, yes, go to university, but in those 4 years, you should spend at least 2.5 of them actually in business doing jobs. University degree is nice in that you know the person is educated. Yeah. But again, you can get through a degree without actually knowing what you're doing. So that education is only as good as the person can apply it. Right? It's one of the scariest things I had in my early career was knowing that I had no education to back me up and I had to use the qualifications I had. So I did get a NVQ in software from my first college course, right? So I got a vocational qualification in software engineering, like which basically means I passed a simple exam, and I had one in robotics, right? I learned how to manipulate a robotic arm and move things around with assembler. That's all I knew. Those are the qualifications I had going into my career as a software developer. It's from I saw a lot of people with degree and no experience in job there, like people that make a normal education much more. Yeah. I mean, it's hard because if you're coming out of school, right, you're finishing school, and I apologize for anybody watching that is kind of lost in this conversation, but this is the sort of stuff that is useful to talk about as we talk about code. When you're coming out of school, you don't have much to build upon, right? So you're looking for that first opportunity. So that education is an indicator to someone, hey, this person went to school and in theory can do this work, right? If you finish school and go into that job thinking you know everything and you can write, you can write code better than anybody else, go ahead. You've got all the lessons of life to learn now, right? You learn all the business processes, the practices that actually happen. So when I was in college, back in the dark ages, right? Like, okay, to do this task, right? So let's say if I was doing this task, right? So they would say, okay, first we need a written document of what you actually plan to do, down to the line, right? You then need to give us an estimate of how long it's going to take. Then you need to do the work. Then you need to write up what happened as you did the work and what changed at the end and why the outcome was different, right? Every single project we did, right? We had to write up this extensive documentation. I do things, right? Even watching me write a program on Agile stuff, right? I am being waterfall about the development, right? Because it's more pragmatic in terms of what I need to get working to get my ideas ready, right? So I struggled with that piece, right? I went 2 years. I nailed every single project, except I didn't do any of the written work for it, right? So I was disillusioned. I was like, this isn't real. This isn't what the real world looks like, right? And my course, this is how I ended. The course tutor, whatever he was, came up to me 2 weeks before the end and said, look, if you do the bare minimum amount of written work for every single thing for the last 2 years, right, the bare minimum, right, we'll even give you a template to go by, you'll pass the course because you're practical, and this is me being a little bit cocky, my practical work had been higher level than anybody else on the course, so it would pull me up to I could pass, right? I went, nope, I'm going to take a 2-week break, and walked away, right? Because I couldn't go on with my education anyway. So my mum had already told me I had to move out or get a full-time job. So I couldn't continue with my education. I was like, okay. So I walked away. rather than stress myself over that. Then I walked into a job, and the first thing I had to do was write a document on what I was about to do. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I had to write a document as to how I was going to release the software and what impact it could have and what changes I had to make. And I'm like, so the real world does do this. Okay. And I ate humble pie. But I learned, right? My education there grew, and I accepted that, and I adapted and followed those rules from there on. Yeah. An experience job. The college I was going to go to before I landed my job wanted me to believe that them saying was Microsoft flagship language is after normal school I was almost I feel a lot of C#. After normal school I was almost directly go to normal job education. Didn't even want to go to high school for a higher education. Maybe it was a failure because now I do stuff in the most unconventional way, but when it works. Yeah, I mean, in a super interesting approach to teaching, we spent half our time every semester making a large project, 6 to 7 size teams, usually with a program deliverable and report. Nice. Yeah, treating it like an actual business process, yeah. But it's this sort of stuff that, strikes with the whole, those who can do, those who can't teach or something like that, right? And that drives my wife crazy, by the way, as a teacher. That phrase is horrible. But it applies to this sort of stuff more than ever. Yeah. Doing students such a huge service, giving them experience working with others so many. But when you look back now, there's a software developer that's had more life experience, more actual practical business experience. You look back on those times and you think, okay, I can kind of see where the lessons were, but they just fell short, right? And again, I think that software development should be, I think that's the other option, right? That half the time making a large project, right? So you're planning and you're preparing and you're developing software, you're writing up the actual deliverable. Those sorts of things are practical use. That's more apprenticeship style than that sounds awesome. Just by listening to this, I would assume you come from Sweden, Norway, or Finland. My engineering degree had so much group work. Probably the most valuable thing about the degree. Yeah. Learning to work with others is a very important component of any major job. You don't get to, I suppose that's why lone wolves definitely do better as contractors, because they're more self-assured. I create a custom identity provider. Problem-based learning. I don't know if you do it elsewhere. So I just want to make simple. I don't want an identity provider. Let's see if our friend can do it. The intern, as Apex puts it. And I create a custom see if he understands what I'm saying, because I don't know how to ask. Morning, Amal. How you doing? I heard only good stuff about school stuff in the countries north of Germany. It does sound very much more like the European countries definitely do more of the whole getting into work with the stuff, but authentication middleware, configure authentication middleware. I'll assume you're using JWT. So JWT would be an option, right? We could create a JWT. Yeah. Actually, that might be the best middle ground. I'm doing good. Just, looking forward to another fun week. This week's going to be challenging. I still have many complaints about my education, but after spending 5 years on it, I'm scared to admit it was wasted. Afternoon, Mr. Jones. How you doing? I don't think any experience is wasted. I think regretting doing something is wasted, right? The experience you've gone through might help you guide somebody else. It might help you understand something differently or look at something from a different perspective than another person. I'm a big believer in not regretting anything because it's just it's unhealthy. Regret. Apex, good morning. How you doing? Surly, good morning. JWT is pronounced Jot. Jot. And it's also GIF. So it's JWT. It is short for something. It's not a word on its own. My education was absolutely not necessary. You didn't learn programming there. Only thing that was interesting was BWL, Business Administration. Okay. Is it really Jot, Surly? Is that how I'm meant to say it? Yeah, I don't think it was wasted. There was wasteful courses, but I generally liked it, especially because I do really like math. Yeah, but it also Jot tokens. In German, we used Jot equals JSON web token. Like you won't know what I'm talking about. Just speak it like that. Dear. Okay, so I want to do... how do I generate one of them? Can we also reinvent the wheel? Yeah, we'll just make up our own version of it. That's what we'll do. Yeah, we'll make TB tokens. Devs are lazy. Jot is just one syllable rather than four. Right, but yeah. So I know that I didn't want to do this path, but this might be the simplest way of being able to achieve this, right? Where we can just add a bearer token in there, and that way, yes, we're getting the GUI in, but we can authenticate, pass that in, and then treat so I'd either give a link or make the treats out of gummy and the wheels out of asphalt. But doing it this way, we can okay, now I'm self-conscious because it's going to come out again. We can create a token, and then we can use this method so we don't have to mess around, because later on when we actually replace this with a more robust solution, it's going to hurt less, right? So we can try and do it this way. Yeah, just make the auth in front of it transparent pass bearer token. Don't handle authentication by itself. Real resource server approach. We want to do the bare minimum, right? Because again, this is meant to be growing, right? I'm not doubting it. the fact that the chat blew up over it suggests that, I just don't. Yeah. And the link doesn't work, by the way. The link only shows me, it won't let a link from here. But yeah, let's take the intern's code. Right. So right now, when we do the login service, we add the login session, and that login session is literally just storing the token, right? So we can still do this if we wanted to. Part of the link this way to work for me. Yeah, it just shows *** on my screen. It blocks it from everybody else. So it shows it for you, but blocks it everybody else, I think. Because I think it puts it into your chat and then deploys it to everyone else. Or publishes it. But I will try and say jot, but it is not something that will come naturally. Just Google. How do you pronounce? Yeah. Okay, I'll do it. Just for amusement. Why is it pronounced jot? Right, but again, this is just a modern laziness thing. Right? Because we didn't change that. Right? We didn't change a lot of the other 3 letters that we do. Right? I get it. I get why we're saying it, but yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if we create this service, let's figure out what we need to do here to change this up. As much as I don't want to do this because it's a lot more development, it does mean that we can switch out this solution later on with another provider and it won't be as painful. And we can look at how to do these things properly, right? Because this is not proper. This is definitely not proper. Okay, so we are needing Microsoft extensions dot identity dot AWT tokens dot jot. How's that sound? Also suffers from the same thing as ATM machine, and it makes me laugh. Yeah, we often call it JWT token, right? And it's actually part of the word ATM machine. Yeah. Which library do I need? It's not this one, is it? Let's see. Interesting. That's not been updated. And at 8 though, it is right. Okay, that is the parts we needed. Replace with your own secret, replace with your own issue, or replace with your own audience. Okay, that's fine. And that's fine. I'm just trying to think about how to approach this one in terms of. So we log in right now. this has an expiration on it, so it will know it's expired. So now, do we need a table for the session? I don't think we do. So this really is now, if we validate, right, we just build a token. So this needs to JWT service. I can't stop doing that. I can't just call it jot instantly. It's not gonna. That's not gonna happen. Token service. But token equals token service generate token. And then this would be account dot then account dot email. And then we just replace that there, right? So we can get rid of other things there, right? So we can get rid of login session, and the account repository doesn't need login session anymore. Right, so we can we can roll back that. Is this the right way to do this? I'm not entirely sure, but we'll find out. So when we log in now, we'll get that token back. That token then gets passed in when we log in as this user. So now we can put the it was telling me, pay attention. We can now put in. We'll worry about the secrets and stuff afterwards. But now we can put this in place. Import. You get packages. Services. Yeah, doing this way is just a little bit smarter from the time perspective. Use authentication. Use auth. Anybody else mess these up all the time? Because I always screw these up. Pass token in headers, descend token in headers. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. The order of these matters as to whether it's going to work or not. So let's do auth issuer signing key, your secret key. Can't mess up what I don't use. Doesn't stop me from messing up. Yeah, the order of these two, it will create some quirky behavior where things won't work properly if you do them in the wrong order. So I always mess them up. So my bet is I think it's authentication above authorization. Because you are authenticated, then you are authorized. Right? You know, who are you, and now what can you do? Been debugging for almost an hour, just realized I didn't build correctly. That happens. It's fine. Builder.services.add authorization. Configure. What's this one? Oh, this is policies stuff. Okay, so the policy stuff we're not going to have right this second, but yeah. So I'm going to put, right now, I'm going to put this issue assigning secret inside of the app settings. We're not risking anything by doing this, but it's not, this isn't what you want to store this in, right? Signing key. Yeah, I'll make it really obscure as well, right? Audience and issuer, right? So from this perspective, now we want builder.configuration auth issuer auth audience auth signing key, I think I called it. What is that actually doing? What does that do? I just dawned on me. What is that actually? What is that? I've not seen that before. I need to learn. Test U8 toString. Result equals. That's valid C#. Yeah, but it happens when my psyche takes a hit every time. It'll happen a lot more as you get older. Don't worry, it's fine. Save your psyche. Just move on. Don't get frustrated by it. I've not seen that syntax before. So it's a UTF-8. Oh, represents a sequence of UTF-16 code unit. What? Yeah, I haven't seen this done before. It does not like that. Output. It's just not something I've seen. I've always done encoding.utf8, right? If I could save time and put U8 after the string, then output equals new string. Yeah, you take that result output.dump. You're not like giving me. If I do that, that's test, right? Now we've got to learn. C# U8 after string. Efficient converting strings. Encoding improvements to C#11. There we go. In C#11, a better way to convert a string is to use the U8 suffix on it. Instead of returning an array, this method will provide a read-only span of bytes. We may wonder why the .NET team made this choice. The reason is that this new API is more elegant in syntax and also more efficient and resource-friendly since it won't cause any memory allocations on the heap. Explicitly using it. I did not know that. That is much faster, as well, significantly faster. I thought I knew the features that came there. So, but that takes. So if we do encoding.utf8.getString result result count. Bytes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's because of two string. Yeah. Okay. So hold on, why is that? Oh, that says two. Yeah. Okay, I'm an idiot. Okay, so I can't do it. Either way, I can't do it from. I can't just do. This isn't going to work now, right? Because that's not the way that works. My allocations are. Maybe it does. No, it doesn't work. Okay. So my other option would be to encode that. So, am I really going to benefit anything from doing it that way? Possible null. It won't be null. Application will crash. Okay, well, I got to learn something. I did not know that existed now. I'll have to remember that. For the use case here, I can deal with a performance hit, right? If I was doing this thousands of times a second, that would be a massive performance hit, and I'd want to find a better way. So, thank you, GPT. You taught me something. See, the interns can teach you things as well, even if you've been doing this for a while. Okay, so now I need to feed in. So my token service here requires those three variables, right? So how am I going to do that here? I don't have them necessarily accessible. This we can just remove. We can prove we can get the jot. I'm air quoting that. We prove we can get the jot. Afterwards, what do we want to do? That should be that. Actually, I think like Auth0 does this, right? Right? WDW. I would. I don't want to do this. I want to inject my configuration into this. There's no real major harm in doing it that way. And then we'll, right this second. I see it did it in here. Is a secret key. We can just do configuration of secret key, signing key. We can do configuration of issuer, configuration of audience. Okay. So signing key will come up with a string in a minute. Audience will be water, drink, water, dot, IO. Issuer is 3D friends. Signing key. Doesn't really matter what this is, does it? if we do something like password, do that. Oh, get that signing key. That should work. So again, this sort of stuff is not something I've done a lot throughout my career. I've worked on systems with hacked together versions of this. I've worked on systems with no security or very little security, plain text security. So all the stuff I've done with Auth0 and stuff has really been on my own. So there's a lot of things I'm going to learn along the path here. Whether this is a good idea or not. Hi Ian, how you doing? I hate setting up Auth, it's always a pain. Yeah, and like I said, it's not something I've done a lot of, so I expect to, grow a little bit as we refine this, but it gives us a talking point. That's the purpose with this application. It's not for me to get the perfect example of how to do Auth. Right now, this is about as rudimentary as it can come, I think. But what I'm trying to do is make sure that we can validate that you're authenticated as you come into this call, and that way we can prove that piece out, and then we can actually get to the UI piece, which is what I want to start today, and how I'm going to lay that out. And that starts to open it up to other people doing stuff with the application. But I've seen many different hacked together implementations throughout the years. What I don't want to do is kind of write our own layer of, if I'm this, if I'm that. That's just wasted effort. If we can get it to hook into the existing pipeline of authentication, and know that your users are permitted, etc., then we can build upon that and swap it out later without actually any care. We need to do the bare minimum. So I'll worry about removing the components there. We should be in a position where we can log in. Let's see. Let's go to, what is this? Water. Okay, so here we go. So we had register account, we have login. So what we should get back here is a jot. If this works. This doesn't work because that's erroring. Because we don't have all the services. Because, some genius forgot to register some of those things. Services that add scoped. So there's no harm in that being a singleton. We don't need to keep creating a new instance of that every time we log in. The login service essentially is stateless. This could potentially be a singleton as well, right? The only different, I don't want that account repository. That will open a connection on demand. This is where it gets tricky. Once you start with DI, you really do have to make sure that all your ducks line up, right? So there's no harm in having an instance of this because it just has a factory reference, right? So we could even make the login service singleton, in theory. Let's have a look. See if this runs now. Some services are not able to be constructed. Cannot consume scoped service from singleton. Right, okay, so yeah, because the account repository is scoped. This is singleton. That has to be transient. So it's requested transient. Really? You can't just replace account service. That should work. Life cycles are always a pain. Unable to find the required services, please add authorization in the application start code. Builder.services add authorization. Authentication before authorization. Yes. Okay. So we got a token. Let's have a look at what it represents. PWT.io. There's our issuer, our audience, our identifier, and our name. Nice. So now, when we go to consume, right, rename, consume. So for anyone joining the stream, this is a simple project built to share on stream with, you know, all the code is available on the GitHub, water, drink water. The purpose is to discuss, to learn, to grow. So I'm not trying to say this is the best way of doing things. What I'm trying to do is say, hey, here's an application. If you want to tinker with ideas, if we want to discuss things, if you want to see, you know, what an app can evolve from, etc., we can do those things and we can discuss them as we go. And that's the goal, right? So the goal is not, hey, look at me, I'm a perfect developer. This is all about personal growth. And the purpose of doing it on stream is purely so that we can kind of go through things. Could have fooled me. What do I think I'm perfect? So here we go. Let's validate one of the things there. I didn't do anything. Bob 2 add request. Okay, so we do definitely get back a new token. That token is valid. So now in here, we would have to, well, let's verify we get so this is going to go to there, and that's going to be consumption. Right, I'm going to post oh, you're also on Twitch, that's nice. Yes, I do dual stream. There are people that don't have access to Twitch, so I did start up the stream on YouTube. Yeah, we've been doing this for a couple of months now, I think. Yeah. How did you end up in here, Ian? Did it recommend at the end of a video, or did it drop you in? Did you find it looking for something? I'm interested in people's discovery methods on YouTube, because it doesn't seem as obvious. Consumed is 10, which is a lie. But we should get unauthorized, and now when we go here and paste that in, we'll do there a token. We get unauthorized. Oh, because that's invalid. For coding, okay. Okay, so okay. Yes. Let's validate this endpoint works first, right? So let's get the debugger.break. Let's put something in there to make it complete. Go into default schema. What are we missing? So this is the this is where I'm going to doubt myself whether I need this before this. I can never remember the order. I always screw the order up, but I know that if you get them wrong, you would just get failed authorization all the time. So what I'm looking for is a difference here. Right? I don't care about it being right or wrong. I care about it showing something different. So, Rob, good morning. How are you doing? Coding challenge. Okay, cool. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're not getting... That's not validating. So, how do I validate this now? No worries, sir. Thank you. Cool. Yeah, the coding challenges have been fun. This is kind of why this project made sense to start, because people were interested in seeing some of the discovery pieces. I may need to go take a quick break. Pups. Yeah. I need to go take a break. I have a dog that needs to go out. I will be right back. My apologies for that. I'm back. When do you think you'll do another coding challenge? I mean, if people are enjoying those things, obviously I can make them a more regular thing. In months where I have a day off, they're easier because I can dedicate longer to the stream. I like to have a bit more time with the coding challenges. Last time we could have done it in a 2-hour period, but I'm open to more challenging things that go on throughout the stream. My next day off is actually next Friday, so if there's interest in a coding challenge, I'd definitely be up for it. I don't want to make them too frequent. I don't know. Again, it's why I've been asking so many questions about what people come to the stream for, what they want to see on the stream. As long as I'm doing content that people are consuming and finding useful, I can do things like the Agile project management off stream, right? That doesn't have to be a main on-stream thing. I can dedicate more time to that. So, you tell me. Again, if you have an opinion and you want to discuss it, jump in the Discord as well and see. Because I would like to make sure the stream is at least entertaining the majority rather than the few. So, yeah. But yeah, I can do one next Friday. Assuming I don't have my vacation cancelled. I'll look at the list and put the 3 in into the vote, and we'll start promoting the voting. So for those new to the stream, the coding challenges, I've done 2 now. It's basically I pick 3 that look interesting from a site that has a couple of dozen on there. And it's basically like the first one was writing a Memcache implementation, and the second one was writing a client server application, a chat application. And it's in the course of the stream, take the challenge of, what do I need to do? How do I build it? How do I approach it? How do I design it? And then how do I refine it? And go through those steps. So yeah, it's, I'll find 3 that look like different from what we've done and look like there's something that I'd find interesting, and I'll put them in the vote. The goal would be the 2nd of Feb, next Friday, I think that is. No, 2 weeks away. How do dates work? 2 weeks away. 2 weeks. A week on Friday. Sorry. That will be. I like the coding challenge. I looked through the list for one myself, but if I want to like, yeah. Sometimes seeing someone struggle at it as well will inspire you to do it as well. So maybe that will, because you went and refined the client chat solution because it triggered your curiosity. Okay, so I'm pretty sure it's authentication before authorization. I'm sure I'm right about that. So now we're going to kind of, I wanted to get to UI. That was the goal of today, right? So UI from a discussion perspective, we have obviously several options, and let me do that. Let me discuss that. I can always debug this afterwards. We know we've got it creating tokens, so this should work. So from a UI perspective, my goal is to make it optional. Yeah, I still get something out of it as I think through it with you. But doing them alone didn't pique my interest. Yeah. And it's again why this project, right? This project is here because I feel that more people are engaged in an application they can see the code to than complete standalone code, right? That they don't have any access to it. I'm just writing and talking about that you don't get to check out. So, again, I want to balance the stream in a way that it's helpful for people, but it's realistic and representative of software development, right? Because it might not be very beginner friendly at times, which is something I want to work on. But collaboration and working with other people is kind of fun. So from a client's perspective on this, what I'm thinking of is we create a solution folder, right? And I'll start with whatever I start with. And then the option there is for anybody else to come along and create a client and do a PR for a different client. Or, you could do it as a different name so we can actually see everyone's version of the client if they wanted to do that, committed into a folder. So the API, the application, everything, this remains the same. We can still tweak and amend this, but we build upon this. And as I add features in there, then the clients are going to be pretty much the differentiator. But it gives an option for, hey, I know how to do this in React. Here's a React client. Hey, I know how to do this in Vue or Svelte, etc. We can build those different clients out. I'm tempted. This is starting to bug me now because this tooling is not perfect. Can't select an Angular app from here. It's driving me crazy. Why did they take that out? I swear it did do it before. Yeah. Widget templates. Avalonia. I can't. Web API. Blazor. Empty. Yeah, there's no. Yeah. SDK server. Yeah, with Angular. Yeah, they did have it. Okay. So the 8s, there's no 8 template. That's the problem. Okay, so they've not updated the templates. That's the problem. So there is no 8 template for Angular yet in .NET. So Angular is my go-to. Blazor is my... I'd rather not. But maybe Blazor's a good start. Maybe Deflux will appear. Let's create a Blazor client. Okay, so here's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to create a project. Do I have a source folder here? Yes, I do. Okay. I'm going to create a new folder called Clients. I'm going to go down into that, right? So, source clients. We're going to create a Blazor web app. I'm not going to do standalone, right? And we'll call this... Blazor. I'm going to tag it with my initials because I don't mind other people building their own and it looking different. And I think that might be a way of differentiating. Lunch has been nommed. What was lunch? Made me feel jealous about missing English food. Or British food. That's made some prawn cocktail. Ham and cheese. And cheese onion walkers. Yeah, I know. I know the conversion delays. Ham and cheese. You're a Branston pickle person, or? Okay, so we're going to put this in the folder. We're going to call it Blazor TBD, right? So if you want to, at this point, right, as we start to grow this application out, you'll be able to do a PR with your own client, if you want to. And then if you have any, if you want to do Blazor, you can use Blazor and just put initials or something after it. That's the standard we'll set for clients. Okay, so how does that sound? Layout, main layout. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to remove some pieces and that's it. Remove the weather. No one likes the weather. No one likes the counter. Okay, so water, drink, water. App. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not going to do anything special right this second. That's interesting. How does this work then? I assume because normally you are the server, right? How is this going to work against an API? Because I don't want to tie this into the backend, right? This is not going to have access to the database, right? That's not the plan. The plan here is that this client will use the API, right? Yes, that might be missing something, but it means that we can keep our client disconnected from the API. Our API can change. Our clients can change. Have you used the Blazor WebAssembly? No, I have not. I mean, have I done it before, or have I used it in this case? Should I use a Blazor WebAssembly? Okay, let's do it so that it's, let's do that so that we actually are... I try not to use Blazor, if I'm honest. Nothing I've seen about Blazor makes me feel that it's a good option. Right. TBD. WebAssembly. Source. Clients. Okay. Okay, so counter and weather go away again. Nav menu, counter, they go away. Right. Yeah, I don't like how it's just this. And it feels non-committal. Right, there's a whole load of stuff that is all over the place still. So yeah. Okay, so let's do edit configurations. Move that. Move that. Move that. Move that. Blazor client. API. Okay. Open editor. Open editor, and then don't allow me to actually do anything. Clean up the profiles. Launch browser false. Okay, then I'm going to go here and create a new They have a new name for this, I think. I'll use Compound. So, Rider does have a new run multiple projects thing that actually isn't a terrible UI. It actually is something similar, I think. Run multiple projects. So when you select it, you can do this and this, and it creates a multi-launch, right? App stack. There we go. The Compound was their other one. Yeah, so go into here. Is multi-launch even an option here? No, multi-launch is... Oh no, there we go, multi-launch. That's how you do it. Right. So Compound was their previous one. Nice to see I'm not the only one who does exactly that to my launch profile. You just end up sat there, and then you have to clean them up, and yeah. Drives me crazy. So I clean it up. Okay, after previous slide. Apply. Okay, I'm sure there was much value in that. There you go. So we launched the API, then we launched the Blazor client, right? Layout, pages, home, welcome. So things I need to know right this second. I need to know, okay, what am I going to do with the JWT? So let's get the use of the Blazorized components. Let's not do that. Let's do Jot. HTML H1 login. Right. Challenge number 1. How to log into the application and where to store the Jot. There you go. Thank you, Silly Dev, for contributing that today, by the way. Yeah, I'll make a note of that. I'll jot that down. So challenge 1 is, okay, now we log in. We need to, how do we store that? And then how do we add it into future requests, right? So what's that going to look like? I've not used a web app, a Blazor WebAssembly before, so this is going to be interesting. Let's do import type equals text, type equals email. We now have that available to us. Class equals form control, placeholder equals email. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah, that'll do. Now, so far I have not liked Rider's. So Rider has no hot reload, which is not good. So if I have to end up in Visual Studio, so be it. Right. So, ta-da! There's a login screen. Right. When we hit login, oh, these dogs today, man. He just came to talk to me. Sorry. He wants the curtain open. So my one dog, he is particularly nosy. Neither of them are fearless. So if a truck drives down, they run away. But he likes to sit at the window and bark at things going past. He's a big, fierce guard dog. Okay, so how do we capture... how do I capture And using a Blazor WebAssembly, how do I store the jot? Oh, sorry. I'm now going to I'm going to type what I'm saying, so that's awesome. How do I store the jot? Right, retrieve. So do I have to do, I've got to learn a whole lot of different things with this, right? You can store the jot, the jot token retrieved from login in different ways. That just shows you how common it is to have the word token after the acronym, right? Because even AI is just consistently using JWT token. Okay, so we'll let that do its thing. How do I do client stuff here? How do I make an HTTP request? Blazor assembly. I assume I'm getting the full .NET stuff, so is it all? Yeah, I have a program. Okay, here we go. New HTTP client, base address. Environment, base address. So what is that? Is this meant to be hooked up to the API? So that's what that is. Found the solution. Besides adding the scope service environment similar to this, it must also be defined in the program as a server project. Right, so I need that. Okay. So here we're gonna need the client. Services. Let's just do it this way. Class. User service. Add. HTTP client. So public string email, string password. Yeah, let's go with that for right this second. Post is based on async. That's going to be API/login. Email and password. Our login on the other side looks like email and password, so that's fine. Models, user. Actually, no, it doesn't return that, does it? It returns the token. String. I'm going to output it to the screen as the plan right this second. That doesn't matter. Response.content read. So the token just comes back as a response, right? So it's just the content. So read as string async. Token is null. Sorry, exception. Then token. Linter. So then in here, we need to do builder.services to add scope, user service, import that. Here we're going to do We want the address. That is the API, so we'll want that one. Okay, and then in home, does this have code and stuff then still? You do that. Unclick. There's a WebAssembly to invoke code. So let's go back over to the intern. Wait JS runtime, invoke plays a component state. Hey Junicus, how you doing? We are tinkering with the Drink Water project, and I'm just adding a Blazor WebAssembly, which is my first ever time using it. So, going about as well as you can imagine, with me just fumbling through and not reading things properly. Authentication state provider. Manager retrieve. This is bringing back memories. I remember doing this stuff several years ago on a different project. Okay. So we've done a little bit of an overhaul. We've made it so that we put a token service inside of the API, so that at the very minimum it's returning a jot, which I've been created on. Did you tinker a bit with your sound? Why? What's wrong with the sound today? It might be peaking out a little bit. I'm looking at it now. It looks like it's right on the cusp of the red. Or does it sound tinny or noisy? I seem to lose every single stream of sound. It's peaking, but it's still louder, and that part is good. Okay, yeah, I did put the cloud lifter in, so it did up the decibels a little bit. It looks like it is peaking a little bit as well. Didn't check that. No one has complained about it today. Let's lower it a little bit, though. There you go. That should go a little lower. Shouldn't peak as much. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Sound is the one thing I've never understood. Like, I get it, so I think it's balanced. It sounds okay for me, but then it's always wrong for other people. And then I don't change anything, and sound is off. So, I lose. But yeah, I put the cloud. I had removed the cloud lifter when I first returned, so I put the cloud lifter back in place now. So that I think that adds 10 decibels. CL1. So that's fine to you. Good. Once you get to noise gates and all the other technology stuff that gets in the way, it just gets time consuming to set up the stream properly. I realized I could just sit here with a headphone mic on or something, but I always thought it was best to try and invest if I was going to do the streaming, try and at least set up the equipment well enough. Okay, so we have a token. 17% and I'm still loud enough. Okay. Most people are saying they had to raise the volume to like 75-80% of volume But again, it's all personal, right? If you have your Windows PC set to 50% volume, the Twitch volume is going to have to be louder. So I could keep adjusting all day long. So you're adding authentication against identity, or are you doing anything else? So basically what we're doing right now is a very bare minimum implementation. So all this is doing right now is we're just hashing the password that you set when you register, and then just comparing the hashes, SHA-256 hash comparison, right? All I've changed today is instead of doing in the application, instead of doing creating a user session and storing it and then just returning a GUID, just generating a token and returning that right now. Now, the other days I had to crank it up all the way to be able to hear you. This is much better. Okay, well, I'm sorry that it was that it was that bad before. I would have gladly spent time trying to tweak it. So all we're doing now is returning a token, and in the login, right, it just returns that token, and the idea is that we can use the regular authentication pieces to get that token and authenticate the user. All we need to care about is logged in or not logged in, right? I don't care about roles or anything like that right this second. So the goal of today's stream was to get to the UI component. So what I've said is, okay, well, I'm going to create a Blazor wa.tbd, right? So the clients are the things that people can definitely have an opinion on in terms of how it looks, how they use the things. We can learn a lot from this piece. So focusing on the API, on the UI side of things, how do I now go and in Blazor web app or WebAssembly or whatever it's called, go and log in and get that token back? So essentially doing this piece. Is definitely better for sound. Okay. Well, I will make sure not to change it too much drastically. Okay, it's 9:05, so I do have very little time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit what I have today, right? And I am going to, yeah, that's fine. No, I don't want weather data. I don't want to commit a lot of stuff we don't. Come on, sample data. That's gone away. Bootstrap is there. Okay. So add Blazor WebAssembly app for TBD. Want to play with Tailwind? Eventually, yeah. I haven't used much Tailwind. But right this second. Okay. Replace login. Add jot service. Token service to create a JWT. Place components. Login service to get token. And user is authenticated. Add endpoint for logging consumption. So the logging consumption doesn't do anything right now. That's more a validation that our user is validated and logged in. What are you thinking of the CSS? Sorry, yeah. Tailwind is definitely something I want to play with. By default, the Blazor templates have Bootstrap, but I want to replace that. I was tinkering with this yesterday and it got messy, so but I'm going to push all the latest code. So it is there if anyone does want to go and take a look at what we've done today, or see if they Don't know. Bootstrap, I know. I hate it, yeah. So I'm going to leave it in place until we get to actually needing a style. I want to get the components in of this. So, being able to log in and validate, and then once those pieces are in, I can build quicker on the rest and then worry about styling and cleaning it up. But it's 9:08. I have to go. I have to get ready for work. Work starts in 20 minutes, and I still have to take the dogs out again. I'm going to be back tomorrow, working more on this. Again, if there's things that I can do, things in the stream that you prefer to see, you have opinions on, things you do like, the things you don't like, if you want to do more streams dedicated to conversation, right, where we have the chance to sit down and talk about, experience and knowledge, those sorts of things in the job. I'm okay with setting up a just chatting stream every now and then, if we want to spend some time discussing. We all have different paths through this software development journey, right? So it can get really interesting when we have those conversations, but I don't also want to make the stream just chatting for too long if we're aiming to do some code. But yeah, it's definitely something I want to focus on, growing what is useful for my stream, right? Do you use a specifications API? Specifications API. Not sure I follow what you mean. You mean like, sorry, how do you roll your own specification repository and unit of work? Oh, gotcha. Okay. So in this project so far, it's deliberately hand rolled, right? I actually use in my main project, I use Ardalis's specifications library at this point because it's pretty nice. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm doing right now, using specifications from him. We've created a specification, a repository, just for the sake of breaking that connection with the database. But we can definitely review uses of that. Ardalis specifications I actually kind of like. I've got kind of used to it because it is nice being able to say, okay, inject a repository. A repository is generic. It goes against the object, and here's the spec on how to query it with all the includes, the actual query parameters, etc. It takes that heavy query stuff out. The GitHub for this project is just hand rolled, so this one does not have the Ardalis specifications. The other project isn't open source, but you and I are. If you're interested, ping me, and I'll give you access to the other project. And you can have a look at what I'm doing in the specifications. If that's what you want to see. If you want to see how I'm using Ardalis specifications, yeah. For the water thing is there. But this doesn't use Ardalis specifications, right? At this point. Yeah. If you're interested in that piece, yeah, let me know. As always. So, anyway, that is me for today. I will return tomorrow. I do have to go pretty quickly. So, if there's no one to raid, because someone went and got themselves a job, congratulations, Apex. Which means that I don't have this. Oh, TickTick's gone live. Let's go to TickTick. TickTick is fun. TickTick swears a bit more than I do. Hey, he swears. But yeah, let's go with thank you very much all. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you again soon. Yeah, have a good one.